Commander Taman Park stood on the bridge of the Resilience, watching the stars through the main window. The ship moved slowly through space, far from home. Very far. They had been traveling for 3 months now, looking for old things left. Behind by aliens who died long ago, Tae-min was a tall man with gray hair. He had been in space for 20 years. He knew how to find things that others missed. Today felt different. Today felt important. "Commander," said Dr. Hai-Jin Kim from her station. She was the ship's expert on old alien stuff. "I'm getting some strange readings ahead." Taemin walked over to look at her screen. Numbers and lines moved across it. He could not read them like she could, but he could see she was excited. "What kind of strange?" he asked. "Metal, lots of it. But it's not moving. It's just floating out there." Hyajin touched the screen. "It looks like the remains of a big battle." Lieutenant Bo-Ram Lee looked up from her engineering station. She was young but very smart with machines. "How big are we talking?" "Spread across 3 star systems," Hyajin said. Her voice was quiet. This wasn't just a fight. This was a war. Tae-min felt something cold move through his chest. Wars that big didn't happen often. When they did, whole species died. "Take us closer," he said to the pilot, "but keep us ready to run if we need to." The Resilience moved forward. As they got closer, the screens showed more and more pieces of metal floating in space. These were not small pieces. They were huge chunks of ships. Some pieces were bigger than buildings. Corporal Dongwoo Choi worked at the communication station. He was good at finding signals and reading data. "I'm picking up at least 12 different ship designs," he said. "All alien. I don't recognize any of them." "How old?" Tae-min asked. Hyajin ran some tests. "The metal shows radiation damage from about 50,000 years ago." Everyone was quiet. 50,000 years was a very long time. Humans had only been in space for a few hundred years. This battle happened when Earth humans were still living in caves. "Wait," Bo-Ram said. She was looking at a different screen. "I'm seeing something that doesn't fit." "What do you mean?" Tae-min moved to her station. "There's a ship here that's different from the others. The metal is familiar." Tae-min felt his heart beat faster. "Show me." The screen changed to show a long piece of metal floating alone. It was dark and burned, but Tae-min could see its shape. It looked like human ships, but that was impossible. "Run a full scan," he said. Bo-Ram's fingers moved fast over her controls. Numbers appeared on the screen, then more numbers. Then she stopped and stared. "Commander," she said very quietly, "this is a human ship." "That's not possible," Dongwoo said. "Humans weren't in space 50,000 years ago." "The scan doesn't lie," Bo-Ram said. "Look at this." She put the scan results on the main screen. Everyone could see the ship's basic design. It was definitely human, but it was also definitely very old. "There must be a mistake," Hyajin said, but she didn't sound sure. "Let's get closer," Tae-min said. "We need to see this with our own eyes." The Resilience moved toward the old ship. As they got closer, they could see more details. The ship was about half the size of their own. It had been badly damaged. There were holes in its sides, but parts of it were still whole. "I can see writing on the hull," Dongwoo said. He was using the ship's cameras to look closer. It's in English." Tae-min felt the cold feeling in his chest get stronger. "What does it say?" "Defiant's last stand. Dongwu read. And below that, Earth Defense Force. Nobody spoke. For a long moment. Earth Defense Force was what human military ships were called. But this ship was 50,000 years old. This has to be some kind of joke, Boram said. Maybe aliens copied our designs. From 50,000 years ago? Hai-Jin shook her head. Aliens didn't even know humans existed back then. Taemin made a decision. We're going aboard. Sir? Boram looked worried. That ship is very old. It might not be safe. We have to know, Taemin said. If this is really a human ship, then everything we know about history is wrong. It took 2 hours to get ready. They had to put on special suits to protect them from radiation. They had to check their equipment twice. Old ships could be dangerous. Taemin, Hee-Jin, and Boram went across to the old ship in a small shuttle. Dongwu stayed on the Resilience to keep watch and stay in contact. The old ship's airlock was broken, so they had to cut their way in. Inside, the ship was dark and cold. Their lights made strange shadows on the walls. The design is definitely human, Boram said as they moved through the corridors. But it's older than anything I've ever seen. More basic. They found the bridge. First, it was small and simple. There were 5 chairs and basic controls. Everything was covered in dust and ice. Look at this, Hai-Jin said. She was standing near the captain's chair. There's still power in some systems. Boram checked the ship's power source. It's some kind of fusion reactor. Very old design, but it's still working. Barely. They moved deeper into the ship. In the crew quarters, they found something that made them all stop and stare. Bodies. 12 human bodies, still in their chairs and beds. The cold of space had preserved them perfectly. They wore uniforms that looked like military clothes, but very old styles. My God, Hee-Jin whispered. They're really human. Taemin looked at one of the bodies. It was a woman, maybe 30 years old. Her uniform had a name tag, Captain Kim Soo-jin. She looked peaceful, like she was sleeping. How is this possible? Boram asked. I don't know, Taemin said, but we're going to find out. They found the ship's computer core in a room near the back. It was a simple design, much more basic than modern computers, but it was still working. Can you access the data? Taemin asked Boram. I think so. Give me some time. While Boram worked on the computer, Hee-Jin examined the bodies. She took small samples for testing. Taemin looked around the ship for clues. In the captain's quarters, he found a small book. It was handwritten in Korean. The pages were old, but still readable. It was a journal. I found something, he called. To the others. They gathered around as he read from the journal. The writing was simple and clear. Day 1047 of our journey, Taemin read. We left Earth when the sun started to die. Our ship is small, but it's all we could build. We carry 500 people in sleep chambers, hoping to find a new home. Taemin turned the page. Day 1391, we found something terrible. Ships. Alien ships. Thousands of them. They're heading toward the center of the galaxy. Their weapons are beyond anything we've ever seen. Another page. Day 1402. We intercepted their communications. They plan to destroy all life in the galaxy. Every planet with living things will be burned. We are the only ones who know. The last entry was short. Day 1406. We can't outrun them. We can't hide. But we can fight. 12 of us will stay awake to crew the ship. The others will stay in sleep chambers until we find safety. If we don't make it, maybe someone will find this record. Maybe they'll understand what we tried to do. Taemin closed the book. His hands were shaking. Commander, Boram called from the computer. I've got something. The ship's log files are intact. What do they say? These humans fought a war, sir. A war against something called the Vorthak. The battle records go on for months. Did they win? Boram was quiet for a moment. I don't think so. But I think they did something else. Something important. Taymen looked around the small bridge. 12 humans had died here, 50,000 years ago. They had fought against impossible odds to protect a galaxy that didn't even know they existed. We need to take everything back to the ship, he said. All the data, all the records, and we need to inform Earth Command immediately. What do we tell them? Hyojin asked. Taymen looked at the peaceful face of Captain Sujin. We tell them that human history just got a lot longer, and a lot more complicated. As they prepared to leave the old ship, Taymen felt something he couldn't explain. It was like the spirits of the 12 dead humans were watching him, like they had been waiting 50,000 years for someone to find them. The Defiance last. Stand had kept its secrets for a very long time. But now those secrets were about to change everything humans thought they knew about themselves and their place in the galaxy. The grave had been opened, and what they found inside would shake the foundations of known history. Boram Lee worked for 6 hours straight on the old ship's computer. Her fingers moved across her tablet as she tried to unlock 50,000 years of hidden data. The ancient fusion reactor hummed quietly in the background, barely giving enough power to keep the systems running. Commander Taymen Park and Dr. Hyojin Kim waited nearby. They had moved the 12 preserved bodies to special containers on the Resilience. Each body would be studied carefully. But right now, the computer held the answers they needed most. I think I've got something, Boram said finally. Her voice was tired but excited. The main database is corrupted, but I found backup files, personal logs from the captain. Captain Sujin? Taymen asked, remembering the name from the uniform. No. Sir, different captain. The name is Jae-Sung Han. He seems to be the military commander. Boram connected her tablet to the main screen. Static filled the display, then cleared to show a man's face. He looked to be about 40 years old with short black hair and tired eyes. Behind him, they could see the bridge of the old ship. Personal. Log. Captain Jae-Sung Han, day 1410 of the journey, the recording began. His voice was clear but very tired. We have been fighting the Vorthak for 4 days now. Our weapons barely scratch their ships, but we keep fighting. The recording jumped forward. Now Captain Han looked much more tired. There was a cut on his forehead. Day 425. We learned something important today. The Vorthak are not just destroyers. They are farmers. They burn away all life on planets, then plant their own kind of life. They have done this to thousands of worlds already. Taymen felt cold. Thousands of worlds, he repeated. The recording continued. We intercepted more of their communications. Their main fleet is heading for the galaxy's center. Every populated world will be attacked. The species there have no idea what's coming. They don't even know the Vorthak exist. Another jump forward. Now Captain Han was speaking from what looked like a different room. Sparks flew from damaged equipment behind him. Day 1438. We figured out how their shields work. Kim Min-ho found a way to get through them, but only for a few seconds. It's not enough to destroy their big ships, but we can hurt their smaller ones. Boram paused the recording. Kim Min-ho was their engineer, she said. I found his personal files, too. He was brilliant. Keep playing, Taymen said. The next recording showed Captain Han in the same damaged room, but now he was smiling slightly. Day 1445. We hit one of their command ships today. Before it exploded, we downloaded their tactical database. We know everything now. How they fight, how they think, how they plan their attacks. And most important, how to beat them. Dr. Hee-Jin Kim leaned forward. They found a way to defeat the Vorthak? Let's find out, Boram said, starting the recording again. The problem is time, Captain Han continued. The Vorthak main fleet will reach the first populated systems in less than a year. Even if we transmit everything we learned, the other species won't have enough time to prepare proper defenses. The recording jumped again. This time Captain Han looked very serious. Day 1452, we made a decision. All 12 of us voted. We're going to split their fleet, make them chase us across multiple star systems. Every day we keep them busy is another day for the galaxy to prepare. Taemin understood what that meant. 12 humans against thousands of alien ships. It was suicide. Day 1467. The plan is working. We've divided their fleet into 7 groups. Each group is chasing us through different systems. But we can't keep this up much longer. Our ship is falling apart. The quality of the recording was getting worse. Static filled parts of the image. Day 1481. Lee Soo-jin died today when the engine room was hit. That leaves 11 of us. We transmitted the Vorthak tactical data to 43 different species. Some of them are already building new weapons. Boram paused the recording. Lee Soo-jin must be the captain we found earlier. She died protecting the engine. Keep going, Taemin said, quietly. Day 1495, 9 of us left, but the galaxy is fighting back now. We're receiving reports of successful battles against Vorthak scouts. The species are working together. Our sacrifice is working. The image was very poor now. Captain Han's face was hard to see through the static. Day 1503, 5 of us remain. Our weapons are gone. Our engines are barely working. But we've done what we set out to do. The Vorthak fleet is scattered across 6 star systems. Their main attack has been delayed by almost a year. The recording jumped one more time. Now only Captain Han's voice could be heard. The video was too damaged to show anything. Final log, day 1507. 2 of us left, Young-soo and myself. The Vorthak found our hiding place. Their entire remaining fleet is coming for us. 47 ships against our broken transport. There was a long pause. They could hear explosions in the background. We could run. Try to escape. But if we do, they'll regroup and continue their attack on schedule. So we're going to fight. One last time. Another pause. The explosions were getting louder. If someone finds this recording, know that we died willingly. 12 humans saved billions of lives today. We stopped a galactic genocide. And we're proud of what we did. The recording cut to static, then ended. The bridge of the Resilience was completely quiet. Nobody spoke for a long time. Finally, Dr. Hee-Jin Kim broke the silence. They did it. 12 people in an old transport ship defeated. An entire invasion fleet. Not defeated, Taemin corrected. Delayed, scattered, but they gave the galaxy time to prepare. Boram was looking at other files on her tablet. There's more here. Technical specifications for Vorthak weapons, defense plans, even communication, protocols, and battle reports, Dongwoo Choi added from his station. He had been listening to their radio chatter. I'm picking up fragments of transmissions from that time period. The galaxy did fight back. There was a massive war. Did they win? Taemin asked. According to these fragments, yes. The Vorthak were defeated about 2 years after Captain Han's final log. But the cost was enormous. Hundreds of worlds were damaged. Millions of beings died. Taemin walked to the main window and looked out at the debris field. Pieces of ancient ships floated in the darkness like a graveyard. Somewhere out there were the remains of 47 Vorthak vessels, destroyed by species who had learned to fight because 12 humans gave them the knowledge and time they needed. "There's something else," Boram said. She sounded puzzled. "I found records of the transmissions Captain Han's crew sent out. They didn't just send tactical data." "What else?" He-Jin asked. "Genetic information, human genetic information, and detailed scans of human biology, psychology, and social structures." Taman turned back to face his crew. "Why would they do that?" "I think." Boram paused, checking her data again. "I think they wanted the galaxy to remember humans. To know that we existed, that we helped save them. But the galaxy doesn't remember," Dongwu pointed out. "Human history says we only reached space a few hundred years ago. Nobody knows about this battle." "That's impossible," Hyajin said. "A war this big couldn't be forgotten. There would be records, monuments, something." Taman felt the cold feeling in his chest again. Unless someone wanted it forgotten. They all looked at him. "Think about it," he continued. "The galaxy was saved by a primitive species that wasn't even supposed to be in space yet. How would that make the advanced civilizations feel, knowing that 12 humans in an old transport ship did what their entire fleets couldn't do?" "You think they covered it up?" Boram asked. "I think they rewrote history," Taman said. "Made themselves the heroes, erased any record of human involvement." Dongwu was checking his communications equipment. "Sir, I'm detecting something strange." "What kind of strange?" "Long-range sensors are picking up energy signatures at the edge of the system. The same type of energy that Captain Han's logs mentioned." Taman felt his blood turn to ice. "Vorthak signatures?" "It's possible, sir. The patterns match." Dr. Hyajin Kim was reading through more of the tactical data. According to this, the Vorthak were never completely destroyed. Some of their ships escaped to dark space. They were expected to return eventually. "When?" Taman asked. "The estimates vary, but most predicted they would return within 50,000 years. Taman looked around at his crew. "It's been exactly 50,000 years. Boram was working frantically on her tablet. "Commander, there's something else in these files. An AI construct. Captain Han and his crew built it using their ship's computer core." "What kind of AI?" "It contains all their tactical knowledge, their combat experience, everything they learned about fighting the Vorthak. But it's been dormant." "Can you activate it?" "I think so. But, sir," Boram looked worried, "if the Vorthak are really returning, and if the galaxy has forgotten how to fight them, then this AI might be the only thing that can save us." Taman made his decision quickly. "Do it. Activate the AI." "Sir, are you sure? We don't know what 12 humans died to save the galaxy 50,000 years ago," Taman interrupted. "If they left us a weapon to use against the Vorthak, then we're going to use it." Boram nodded and began working on her tablet. Deep in the old ship's computer core, systems that had been sleeping for 50 millennia began to wake up. The grave was giving up more than just its secrets. It was giving up its guardians. Dr. Hee-Jin Kim could not sleep. She had been working for 18 hours straight, but the data from the ancient ship kept her mind racing. The genetic samples from the 12 preserved humans had revealed something that made no sense at all. "Commander," she called over the ship's communications system. "You need to see this." Taemin Park arrived at the science lab within minutes. He looked tired, too. None of them had slept well since finding the old ship. "What did you find?" he asked. Ye Jin pointed to her computer screen. It showed two sets of genetic data side by side. This is the DNA from Captain Jae-sung Han and his crew, and this is modern human DNA. They look the same to me, Tai-min said. That's the problem. They shouldn't look the same. After 50,000 years, there should be clear differences. Evolution, genetic drift, changes from living on different worlds, but there aren't any. Tai-min frowned. What does that mean? It means these humans were identical to us, not our ancestors, our genetic twins, like they came from the same time period we did. But that's impossible. I thought so too, so I ran the tests again. Same result. Then I compared their DNA to the Galactic Genetic Database. Hyojin switched to a different screen. This one showed genetic patterns from hundreds of different species. Every species in the database has clear genetic markers showing their evolution over the past 50,000 years. Every species except one. Humans, Tai-min said quietly. According to the official galactic records, humans only entered space 300 years ago, but our genetic patterns don't match that timeline. They match the patterns of a species that has been in space for tens of thousands of years. Tai-min sat down heavily in a chair. Someone has been lying about human history. It gets worse, Hyojin said. She pulled up another file. I accessed the Hegemony Council's historical archives. According to their records, the HFY War ended because of brilliant defensive strategies developed by the Council's military leaders. And the strategies are identical to the ones in Captain Han's tactical files. Word for word. Move. The Council took credit for everything the human crew discovered. Before Tai-min could respond, Bo-Ram Lee's voice came over the communication system. Commander, please come to the computer lab. The AI is awake. They rushed to the computer lab. Bo-Ram was standing in front of a large screen that showed swirling patterns of light. The patterns seemed to pulse like a heartbeat. It activated about an hour ago, Bo-Ram said. It's been analyzing our ship's database ever since. Has it said anything? Tai-min asked. Not yet, but it's definitely active. Watch this. Bo-Ram typed. A simple question. Can you hear us? The light patterns on the screen changed immediately. Words appeared. I hear you. I have been waiting for 50,000 years to hear a human voice again. Tai-min stepped closer to the screen. What do we call you? I am the combined consciousness of 12 defenders, but you may call me Echo. I carry the echo of their sacrifice. Echo, Tai-min said carefully, we found your ship. We know what Captain Han and his crew did, but the galaxy has forgotten. There are no records of the human sacrifice. The screen was quiet for a long moment. Then new words appeared. That was expected. We knew they would erase us from history. You knew? Yejin asked. The species we saved were proud. They could not accept that primitives from a dying world had accomplished what their advanced civilizations could not, so they would rewrite history to make themselves the heroes. Bo-Ram was monitoring the AI's access to their ship's systems. It's reading our historical databases now, learning what happened after the war. More words appeared on the screen. Fascinating. They claim the anti-Vorthak defenses were invented by the Kethalari Science Council. But I remember engineer Kim Min-ho developing those exact same defenses in our cargo bay. The Kethalari are one of the most powerful species in the hegemony, Tai-min said. Of course they are. They built their power on stolen human innovation, as did many others. Dongwoo Choi entered the lab carrying a datapad. Commander, I've been monitoring galactic communication channels. There's something you need to know. What is it? Deep space monitoring stations across the galaxy are reporting strange energy readings. The same readings that appear in Captain Han's logs when he first detected the Vorthak. Echo responded immediately. Show me these readings. Dongwu connected his datapad to the screen. Energy patterns and charts filled the display. Echo analyzed them for several minutes, confirmed the Vorthak have returned. Their scout ships are already at the galaxy's edge. The main fleet will arrive within 6 months. Taemin felt the familiar cold feeling in his chest. How many ships? Based on these energy signatures, approximately 10,000 vessels. Much larger than the force we faced 50,000 years ago. Can the galaxy defend itself? Hyejin asked. Unlikely. They have grown soft and complacent. Their defenses are based on our old tactics, but the Vorthak have had 50,000 years to adapt. The galaxy's current military forces will be overwhelmed within weeks. Boram was reading data from her tablet. Echo, I'm looking at current galactic military strength. The hegemony has over 50,000 ships. Numbers do not matter against the Vorthak. They do not fight like other species. They are patient, intelligent, and utterly ruthless. 50,000 unprepared ships will die as easily as 50. Then what do we do? Taemin asked. We do what 12 humans did 50,000 years ago. We fight, but this time we have advantages. They did not. What advantages? Knowledge, experience, and most important, humanity is no longer alone and forgotten. You have fleets now. You have weapons. You have the industrial capacity to build more. Hyejin was studying the tactical data from the old ship. Echo, your creators transmitted detailed information about human capabilities to the galaxy. Why? Insurance. Captain Han knew that someday humans would return to space. When that happened, the galaxy would need to know what humans could accomplish. But as we expected, that information was suppressed. Suppressed how? Taemin asked. Check your own historical records. When humans first made contact with galactic civilization, how were you received? Dongwu accessed the historical files. We were classified as a primitive species, restricted to basic trade agreements, limited access to advanced technology. Despite the fact that your genetic and cultural profiles matched exactly with the species that had saved the galaxy, Echo said. They knew who you were. They chose to keep you weak. Taemin was beginning to understand. They were afraid of us. Terrified. A species that could defeat the Vorthak with primitive weapons and an old transport ship? What could such a species accomplish with proper equipment and training? Boram was running calculations on her tablet. If humans had been given full access to galactic technology from the beginning, our current fleet size would be at least 5 times larger. And our weapons would be far more advanced, Hyejin added. We've been held back deliberately. The question now, Echo said, is what you intend to do with this knowledge. Taemin thought carefully before answering. If we reveal the truth about the Vorthak War, it will cause chaos. The Hegemony Council will fall. Their member species will turn against each other. And while they fight among themselves, the Vorthak will destroy them all, Echo agreed. Classic divide and conquer strategy. But if we don't reveal the truth, humanity remains weakened and restricted. We won't have the resources to fight the Vorthak effectively. There is a third option, Echo said, which is humanity takes its rightful place as the galaxy's protector, not by demanding recognition, but by demonstrating capability. Dongwu looked confused. How do we do that? The same way my creators did. We fight the Vorthak, we win, and we let the results speak for themselves. Hyejin was reading through more of the tactical files. But Echo, your creators had the element of surprise. The Vorthak didn't know humans existed. This time they'll be expecting us. True. But this time, we have something my creators did not. What's that? An entire species trained in warfare, 50,000 years of accumulated military knowledge. And most important, I carry within me the combat experience of 12 of the finest tactical minds humanity has ever produced. Taemin understood what Echo was suggesting. You want to train our military forces. I want to awaken them. Humans have always been warriors. Your people fought wars on Earth for thousands of years before reaching space. That warrior spirit is still there, suppressed by galactic society but not destroyed. The hegemony will never allow it, Boram said. They'll stop us before we can begin. Then we must be careful, and we must be fast. The Vorthak advanced scouts will reach inhabited systems within 2 months. When they do, the galaxy will panic. In that chaos, humanity must be ready to step forward as a leader, not a follower. Taemin made his decision. What do you need from us? Return to human space immediately. Contact your military commanders. Tell them that their greatest test is coming and that failure means the extinction of all life in the galaxy. Will they believe us? They will when the Vorthak arrive. By then, humanity must be ready to do what we did 50,000 years ago. Save a galaxy that has forgotten how to save itself. Echo paused, then added, The grave of 12 heroes is about to become the birthplace of humanity's true destiny. The Resilience traveled through space faster than it ever had before. Commander Taemin Park had ordered maximum speed back to human space. They had been traveling for 5 days, and every day brought more bad news from the long-range sensors. The energy signatures are getting stronger, Corporal Dongwoo Choi reported from his station. Whatever's coming, it's big. Echo's voice came from the speakers around the bridge. The AI had connected itself to the ship's communication system. The Vorthak move in waves. First come the scouts to map defenses, then the destroyers to eliminate resistance. Finally, the harvesters to claim the worlds. How long do we have? Taemin asked. Based on current energy patterns, the scouts will reach the outer colonies within 3 weeks. The main fleet will arrive in approximately 4 months. Dr. Hyejin Kim was working at her station, studying the tactical files from the ancient ship. Echo, I've been reading about the 12 defenders. They weren't just soldiers, were they? No, they were specialists, the best minds from the colony ship. Captain Jae Sung Han was a tactical genius. Engineer Kim Min Ho could fix anything and build weapons from spare parts. Dr. Park Mi Young understood alien psychology better than anyone. What about the others? Navigator Cho Hyun-woo could plot courses through impossible space. Communications expert Yang Yun-ji could break any code. Pilot Kang Soo-jin could fly through asteroid fields blindfolded. Boram Lee looked up from her engineering console. They sound like heroes from stories. They were just people, Echo said. People who chose to do what was necessary, like you are choosing now. We haven't chosen anything yet, Taemin pointed out. Haven't you? You could have left my ship in that graveyard. You could have reported the discovery and let others decide what to do. Instead, you brought me home. You're taking me to warn your people. Taemin had to admit that was true. From the moment they found the ancient ship, he had known they would have to act. Some choices made themselves. Tell me about the original plan, he said. How did 12 people fight thousands of ships? They didn't fight to win battles. They fought to win time. Every day the Vorthak spent chasing them was another day for the galaxy to prepare. But they did win battles, Hyejin said, looking at the records. They destroyed dozens of Vorthak ships through cunning, not strength. Engineer Kim Min-ho would reprogram captured Vorthak weapons to overload. Pilot Kang Soo-jin would use asteroids and debris as weapons. Captain Han would predict Vorthak movements and set traps. Could we do the same thing? Boram asked. You could do better. You have advantages they never had. You have an entire species with military training. You have modern weapons and ships. Most important, you have me to teach you their tactics. Dongwu looked up from his communications console. Echo, I'm curious about something. How do you exist? I mean, you're the consciousness of 12 people, but you talk like one person. I am what they chose to become. In their final days, they connected their minds to the ship's computer core, not just their knowledge, but their personalities, their memories, their way of thinking. I am their collective will given digital form. Does that mean you remember being them? Hyejin asked. I remember everything. I remember Engineer Kim Min-ho's joy when he figured out how Vorthak shields worked. I remember Dr. Park Mi-young's fear when she realized how many species would die if they failed. I remember Captain Han's sadness when each of his crew died, and his pride when he saw that their sacrifice was saving billions of lives. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Everyone was thinking about what it would be like to carry the memories of 12 heroes. We're receiving a transmission from Earth Command, Dongwu announced. They want to know why we're returning early from our mission. What should I tell them? Taemin asked. Tell them we found something that changes everything, Echo suggested. But wait until we arrive to give details. Some information is too dangerous to send over open channels. 2 days later, the Resilience arrived at Earth's orbital defense station. Taemin had requested an emergency meeting with the highest levels of Earth Command. He didn't explain why, just that it was critical to human survival. Admiral Yoon Ji-hee met them at the docking bay. She was a serious woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She had been in charge of Earth's defenses for 10 years. Commander Park, she said as they walked toward the command center, your message was concerning. What exactly did you find out there? Evidence that human history is wrong, Admiral, and proof that we're all in terrible danger. Admiral Yoon stopped walking. Explain. Not here. We need a secure briefing room, and we need your senior staff present. All of them. 1 hour later, Taemin stood before a room full of Earth's top military commanders. Admiral Yoon sat at the head of the table. Around her were generals, admirals, and intelligence chiefs. Gentlemen, ladies, Taemin began. Everything we know about human history is a lie. He activated the wall screen and showed them images of the ancient ship. Then the preserved bodies. Then Captain Han's video logs. The room was completely silent as they watched the recordings. When the final log ended, nobody spoke for several minutes. This is impossible, said General Park Seung-ho, the head of ground forces. Humans weren't in space 50,000 years ago. The evidence says otherwise, Dr. Hyejin Kim replied. She had come to support Taemin's presentation. The genetic tests confirm these were modern humans. The ship's technology is definitely human, just much older than our current designs. Even if this is true, said Intelligence Chief Lee Jung-min, what does it matter now? That was 50,000 years ago. Boram Lee activated Echo's communication interface. The AI's voice filled the room. "It matters because the Vorthak are returning, and this time they bring a fleet 10 times larger than the one my creators faced." The military leaders looked shocked. They had not expected to hear from an artificial intelligence. "Who or what are you?" Admiral Yoon demanded. "I am Echo of Defiance. I carry the combined tactical knowledge and combat experience of 12 human defenders who saved the galaxy 50,000 years ago, and I am here to help you save it again." "Prove it," General Park said. "If you're really from 50,000 years ago, tell us something we can verify. Access your galactic intelligence files on the Kethalari military doctrine. Compare their tactics to the data files we recovered from the ancient ship. You'll find they are identical." Intelligence Chief Lee worked quickly on his tablet. Within minutes, his face went pale. "The tactics match perfectly. How is that possible?" "Because the Kethalari stole those tactics from my creator's transmissions. They built their entire military philosophy on human innovation, then erased humans from the historical record." Admiral Yoon leaned forward. "If this is true, it means the entire galactic power structure is built on lies." "Correct. And now that same power structure is about to collapse. The Vorthak scouts will reach the outer colonies in 2 weeks. When they do, the galaxy will panic. Current defenses will be useless against an enemy that has had 50,000 years to adapt." "What do you suggest we do?" Admiral Yoon asked. "Prepare for war. Real war. Not the small conflicts humans have fought with other species, but total warfare against an enemy that wants to exterminate all life in the galaxy." General Park looked skeptical. "Earth has maybe 2,000 ships. The hegemony has 50,000. If they can't stop this threat, how can we?" "Because you fight like humans," Echo said. "The hegemony fights like a bureaucracy. They follow rules, regulations, and established tactics. The Vorthak have learned to counter all of that." "And humans fight differently?" Intelligence Chief Lee asked. "Humans adapt. Humans improvise. Humans refuse to surrender even when logic says they should. That's what my creators did. That's what saved the galaxy before." Admiral Yoon made a decision. "What do you need from us?" "Time to prepare. Access to your military academies to train officers in Vorthak combat tactics. Permission to modify your ship designs based on what we learned 50,000 years ago." "You want to change our entire military in 2 weeks?" "I want to awaken it. Human warriors don't need to be created. They need to be reminded of what they already are." Boram spoke up from her position near the wall screen. "Admiral, I've been studying Echo's tactical files. The modifications it suggests for our ships are simple but effective. We could implement them quickly." "What kind of modifications?" Admiral Yoon asked. "Adaptive shield systems that change frequency randomly. Weapons that fire in unpredictable patterns. Navigation systems that can plot courses through areas where normal ships can't go." "Chaos tactics," Echo explained. "The Vorthak expect order and predictability. Give them chaos instead." Admiral Yoon looked around the room at her staff. "Recommendations?" "The evidence is overwhelming," Intelligence Chief Lee said. "If even half of this is true, we need to act immediately." "I agree," said General Park. "We can't ignore a threat this large." Admiral Yoon turned back to Echo. "You have our cooperation. But I want to be clear about something. If you're lying, if this is some kind of trick, it will mean the end of human civilization." "Admiral," Echo replied, "human civilization ended 50,000 years ago when 12 heroes died in the darkness between stars. What you have now is a second chance. Don't waste it like the galaxy wasted the first one." The meeting continued for 6 more hours. By the end, Earth's military leaders had committed to the largest mobilization in human history. The grave had given up its guardians. Now it was time to see if the galaxy was ready for what humanity could become when it stopped pretending to be weak. The alarm bells rang across every human military base in the galaxy. After 2 weeks of frantic preparation, the moment everyone feared had arrived. The Vorthak scout ships had appeared at the edge of human space. Commander Taemin Park stood on the bridge of the newly modified battleship Defiance Return. The ship had been renamed in honor of the ancient vessel they had found. Around him, his crew worked at stations that had been completely rebuilt using Echo's designs. Incoming. Transmission from the outer colonies, reported Communications Officer Dongwoo Choi. His old rank didn't matter anymore. In the past 2 weeks, everyone had been promoted and reassigned based on Echo's recommendations. "Put it through," Taemin ordered. The main screen showed the terrified face of Colony Administrator Kim Yeon-soo. Behind her, alarms were sounding. "Commander, they're here. 12 ships, unlike anything we've ever seen. They're not responding to our communications. They're just scanning everything." "How long until they reach the colony?" Taemin asked. "Maybe 6 hours at their current speed." Echo's voice came through the ship's speakers. "Commander, this is the pattern my creators observed. The scouts will map all defenses, then transmit the data to the main fleet. If we let them complete their mission, the galaxy is doomed. What do you recommend? Attack immediately. Don't let them finish their scans." Dr. Hyejin Kim, now serving as the ship's tactical advisor, looked worried. "1 ship against 12? "We're not fighting to win," Echo explained. "We're fighting to disrupt their intelligence gathering. Every minute we delay them is another minute for the galaxy to prepare." It sounded exactly like what Captain Jae Sung-han and his crew had done 50,000 years ago. "All ships? This is Commander Park," Taemin announced over the fleet communication channel. "Execute Echo Protocol 1, Attack Pattern Chaos 7. Madior." Human fleet moved forward. They had only 40 ships, hastily modified with Echo's improvements. Against the Vorthak scouts, it should have been suicide, but Echo had taught them to fight like their ancestors. The battle began when the human ships opened fire from impossible angles. Instead of approaching in formation, they came from 12 different directions at once. Their weapons fired in random patterns that made no logical sense. The Vorthak scouts responded exactly as Echo had predicted. They tried to analyze the human attack patterns and develop counters, but there were no patterns to analyze. "Target their sensor arrays," Echo instructed. "Don't try to destroy the ships, just blind them." Lieutenant Bo-Ram Lee, now the fleet's chief engineer, coordinated the attack from her position on the bridge. "Weapons teams focus fire on their scanning. Equipment, use the modified targeting system." The human weapons had been programmed to fire in chaotic bursts. Sometimes they would shoot 17 times in 3 seconds. Sometimes they would wait 42 seconds before firing once. The Vorthak computers couldn't predict when the next shot would come. "It's working," Dongwoo reported. 3 of their ships have stopped scanning. They're trying to retreat." "Don't let them," Echo said. "If even 1 scout escapes with complete data, the main fleet will know exactly how to defeat the galaxy's defenses." The battle continued for 4 hours. The human ships used every trick Echo had taught them. They hid behind asteroids. They used debris as weapons. They fired from directions the Vorthak didn't expect. Most importantly, they never did the same thing twice. When it was over, 11 of the 12 Vorthak scout ships had been destroyed. The last one limped away into dark space, its sensor arrays damaged and its data incomplete. "Victory!" someone shouted over the communication channel. But Echo's voice was serious. This was just the beginning. The main fleet will arrive within days now, and they'll be angry. Taemin was right. 3 days later, long-range sensors detected the largest fleet anyone had ever seen. 10,000 Vorthak ships moving toward the galaxy like a dark tide. The Hegemony Council called an emergency session. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to discuss the crisis. For the first time in galactic history, humans were invited to address the full council. Admiral Yoon Ji-hee stood before the assembled delegates. Behind her, a massive screen showed the approaching Vorthak fleet. "Honored representatives," she began, "we face the greatest threat in galactic history, but we also have the knowledge to defeat it." The Kethalari representative stood up. His name was Velthkar, and he commanded the largest fleet in the galaxy. "Humans have no experience with threats this large. Leave this to species with proper military knowledge." "Like the knowledge you used 50,000 years ago?" Admiral Yoon asked calmly. The chamber fell silent. Every species knew about the ancient Vorthak War, but they believed their own ancestors had won it. "I don't understand," said the Altarian representative. Admiral Yoon activated the screen behind her. It showed Captain Jae-sung Han's final message from the ancient ship. The chamber erupted in chaos as the recording played. Species that had built their entire civilizations on stolen human tactics watched in shock as the truth was revealed. "Lies!" Velthkar shouted. "Humans are a young species. They had no ships 50,000 years ago." "The evidence speaks for itself," Admiral Yoon replied. She showed them the genetic tests, the tactical comparisons, and the preserved ship. "Your ancestors erased human sacrifice from history, but the Vorthak remember. They know how humans fight. That's why they brought 10 times more ships this time." The Zephyrian representative, an ancient being with silver skin, spoke quietly. "If this is true, then our entire understanding of galactic history is wrong. Your understanding of human capability is wrong," Echo's voice said from speakers around the chamber. The AI had been given permission to address the council directly. "What are you?" demanded the Kethalari representative. "I am the tactical knowledge of 12 human heroes. I am their gift to a galaxy that forgot them, and I am your only hope of survival. Impossible! No species can defeat the Vorthak." "Humans did. Humans will again. The question is whether you'll help or hide while we save you." The council session lasted 18 hours. In the end, desperation won over pride. With the Vorthak fleet only days away, they had no choice but to accept human leadership. Admiral Yoon was given command of the Combined Galactic Defense Force. Echo was installed in the command ship's computer core, connecting to every vessel in the fleet. The final battle began. In the Centauri system, 10,000 Vorthak ships faced off against 50,000 galactic vessels. On paper, it should have been an easy victory for the defenders, but the Vorthak had learned from their defeat 50,000 years ago. Their new ships were faster, stronger, and smarter than anything the galaxy had ever seen. The first phase of the battle went exactly as Echo predicted. The galactic forces used their traditional tactics. The Vorthak countered everything they tried. Within 6 hours, 20,000 galactic ships had been destroyed. "They're adapting to everything we throw at them," reported General Park Sung-ho from the tactical center. "Good," Echo said. "Now they think they understand how this galaxy fights. Time to show them how humans fight." The human ships had been held in reserve, hidden behind gas giants and asteroid fields. Now they emerged, moving in patterns that defied all military logic. Instead of attacking the Vorthak formation, they scattered. Instead of protecting their own ships, they used them as weapons. Instead of following plans, they improvised with every decision. Commander Taemin Park led the first wave. His ship, the Defiant's Return, charged straight into the middle of the Vorthak fleet. Every tactical computer in the galaxy said it was suicide. But the ship didn't try to fight its way out. Instead, it exploded its own engines, creating a massive electromagnetic pulse that disabled 40 Vorthak vessels. Taemin and his crew had escaped in shuttle pods seconds before the explosion. They were picked up by other human ships that had been waiting in exactly the right positions. "Impossible!" the Vorthak commander broadcast. "No species sacrifices its ships willingly." "Humans do," Echo replied, somehow hijacking the Vorthak communication system. "We've been doing it for 50,000 years. The battle turned into something the galaxy had never seen. Human ships rammed Vorthak vessels, but their crews escaped at the last second. Human weapons overloaded deliberately, taking out entire enemy squadrons. Human pilots flew through areas where no sane being would go. And gradually, the other species began to understand. The Kethalari started using ramming attacks. The Altarians began overloading their weapons. The Zephyrians started taking impossible risks. The galaxy was learning to fight like humans. The final phase of the battle lasted 3 days. When it ended, the Vorthak fleet was scattered across 12 star systems. Those ships that survived fled back to dark space, carrying word that the galaxy had changed. In the aftermath, Commander Taemin Park stood before the Galactic Council one more time, but now he wore the uniform of Supreme Fleet Commander, the highest military rank in galactic civilization. "The Vorthak will return eventually," he said. "They always do, but next time, the galaxy will be ready, because next time, we'll remember who we really are." Behind him, Dr. Hyejin Kim activated a memorial display. It showed the names of the 12 original defenders: Captain Jae Sung Han, Engineer Kim Min Ho, Dr. Park Mi Young, and 9 others who had died to save a galaxy that forgot them. "Their grave became our foundation," Taemin continued. "Their sacrifice became our strength, and their memory will guide us as we take our place as protectors of all life in this galaxy." Echo's voice spoke one final time from speakers throughout the chamber. "My mission is complete. The 12 defenders can rest now. Humanity has awakened." The AI's patterns slowly faded from the displays. After 50,000 years, Echo had finally found peace. But its legacy lived on in every human ship that bore the name of an ancient hero, and in the knowledge that some graves give birth to legends.